All right, so this is going to be a tactical one about how to use GIFs in your email marketing. Not only because GIFs look cool, but they also make money. So you could be making $23,000 per email using GIFs, and that's based on these real results that I'm showing you here. And we're going to be using Figma and Klaviyo to create these GIFs. Optionally, some AI wouldn't hurt as well. But Figma and Klaviyo are basically the foundation of this. So there's two types of GIFs you could possibly use. Could either be changing elements. So here you can see the background is changing, or you can have moving elements. So here it's like the background image of clouds. It's the same image, it's just kind of like moving around. This is not mine. I just saw it in my inbox, thought it was cool. I mostly do changing elements. That's why I don't have an example of a moving element that my team put together. So also, this is also kind of a changing element because like the butterfly with its wings open and closed are technically different images. But either way, you get the point. All right, so here's another example here. So this one will also be changing elements because those are two entirely different images that are switching back and forth. And you can see the colors are changing. So when do you use GIFs? So I know some brands, they have like GIFs in like every single email. I think that's overdoing it because the magic is gone when people start to expect it every single time. So the two times I like to use GIFs are when a particular email intuitively calls for animation. So for example, this product, a feature of the product is that it has these bunch of different modes, right? So 6 different colors. And so we're showing the different colors. So it just intuitively makes sense that that's something that we can animate because the product literally does that. You have the button to like change whatever color emits from this mask thing. And also whenever it's an exciting email that is intended to stand out. So that's like a new launch. Like this product, we actually sold out after just a couple of emails when we launched this product. So that's pretty cool. So let's get on to Figma and walk through how to actually bring these to life. All right, so I'm inside Figma. We've got the email design. So make sure you know how to design like a basic email before you're even looking into this. So I'm not going to walk through how exactly this email came to exist. And I'm just going to take an email that exists and then talk about how to animate it. So first you decide what parts we want to animate. So obviously you already saw that what the final decision was. So this entire thing here, we want the product flashing on and off, and we want the colors on this text flashing from red to something that's not red when this red light is off as well. And then we have an image here with lots of red lights, so it would be good to have that one flashing as well. So we have two areas that we've identified. And now what we need to do is separate those out of the rest of the email because we don't want the entire email to be one big GIF. So we select the bare minimum that's required. And if you hold Option, that allows you to clone an element on Figma and you can move it off to the side. And now you do that as many times as you need to do it. So in this case, we only need two because we have two elements, two modes that we want it on. So we want it with the red light on and we want it with the red light off. So we'll keep that separated. And then we also want to complete the rest of that section of the email, right? So whatever is behind it, we want to include that as well. And for that, I'm just going to make it a frame. And I know that this width is 1,000. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's 1,000. And if we enter it into, we can paste that into the frame and then we size the frame so it's perfectly in line. So this part perfectly corresponds with this part. Now you can get rid of that. And then if you hold the frame, then you can duplicate it. And then this one, we'll have to use AI to, obviously if you know image editing, you can do that yourself, but AI is going to get you an image where it allows you to turn those lights off. And now we're going to do the same up here. So we're going to take this entire thing and we're going to, so again, we have two versions of this that we want to animate as well. So we're going to move that over and we're going to frame this. So I believe if you just group it and then you can frame selection and then same thing here. We can group this entire thing. I'm sure there's like, and frame that as well. All right, so now we have the two frames and now we need to actually change one of the frames. Otherwise it's not going to be a GIF, right? It's just going to be these two are exactly the same thing. All right, so I pulled up the exact prompts we used to generate these variants of the exact photo. So obviously super simple. This was on Gemini Nano Banana, which is supposedly I'm not too caught up on all this stuff, but supposedly that's the best image generator. So as you can see, did pretty good. Sometimes it'll mess things up. It'll add like a random hand down here or whatever. So just make sure it doesn't do that, and make sure you get it at least as close to 1-to-1 as you possibly can. So far you're seeing the vision start to come to life. So now we just want to change this. So if we just let's see. Now we want to change this. Okay, so let's take this image here, double click that, make sure it opens up the image. Know that you're selecting the image, not the entire shape. And then you hit Control C. And then literally all you're doing is, I didn't do that right, pasting it in there. And then now it's starting to come together. Another thing we wanted to do is change the colors, right? So if we hold Command and then right click, it lets you select things behind. So what do we want to fill that as? We can make it gray, but I don't like that because that kind of looks like we just made the entire thing black and white. Kind of takes the magic out of it. So I'm just looking for another color that we have in the email to kind of stay on brand. So that looks good. We'll do the same with the text here. We'll change it to that purple color. So now we're going to have these two frames switching back and forth. And let's do the same down here. So this one's even easier because there's not anything other than the image that we're changing around. So double click that, make sure the image is open, hit Control C, hit that shape, and then paste in the new image there. And now we've got those two frames. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna wanna do is export those frames. So now we have to actually turn it into a GIF that we don't do directly in Figma. Select those two frames, hit the export button. All right, so we select the two frames, we hit the export button, export two layers, and that's gonna save both images as a zip file. So we'll call this one GIF1, save that. Then we'll call this one GIF2. And those are gonna be .gif files or .zip files. All right, so the next website we're gonna hit is easygif.com. It's a free GIF maker, and then you hit GIF maker, and then now we choose the files. So first you'll have to unzip those zip files that Figma exported, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're unzipped, and now we've got these two frames that we can easily select, and we open, and then we hit upload files, and wait for that to upload. Okay, so now we've got these two images. Honestly, the only thing I changed is the delay because 20 feels a little too fast. 60 is pretty reliable. The only time the order matters here is say it freezes for someone and then you can assume it'll probably freeze at the frame one. So frame one, technically the one with the light on is better. So if we have to assume that someone gets a frozen GIF, we'd rather have it on frame one with the light on. So, but honestly, it doesn't matter at all. So we'll leave that be. We hit make a GIF, and then you got your GIF. And if it feels too fast or too slow, you can mess around with the timing. But that's how you make that GIF. And we can save it, and once you saved it, that's what becomes this entire block of that email. And obviously you have it linked to your site and you're good to go. And the rest of the email is just regular images. So to kind of show you this one more time, we can go back and do GIF 2 as well. So we open both frames. All right, and this time I'll leave it at 20 just to show you that it's the faster version of this. Yeah, so yeah, it's a little bit faster, but that honestly doesn't look too bad. It gets weird when it's like text because then you're like, I'm trying to read it, but then this thing is like distracting me. So when it's like an image with no text, honestly, like a flash, honestly, making it this fast is actually pretty good. And then once again, that just becomes that particular slice of that email. And that's how you use Canva, or not Canva. We could probably do this on Canva, but it's been years since I've used Canva. That's how you use Figma, Klaviyo, Easy GIF, and AI, if relevant, to create GIFs for your email marketing and make $20,000 to $23,000 per day using GIFs in your email marketing. Enjoy.